let us introduce 9 and 10 News sports reporter Danielle King from Northwest Michigan. Thank you very much for joining us today.
Of course, of course. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Glad to have you with us. Excited to talk some baseball with you. Apparently, scrolling through your Twitter feed, seeing a very passionate baseball fan out there. Let's start right there. How do you like the rule changes?
Um, it's interesting when I first heard about it. I mean, obviously it was in the minors and they were testing things out. But when they decided to actually implement it in the MLB, didn't know how to feel about it. Since I'm not someone obviously who plays baseball, I really feel like I can't describe it from that standpoint. But as someone who has enjoyed the game and loves the game, I thought it was kind of weird that they were trying to shorten a baseball game because at the end of the day, you know what you're getting out of a baseball game. It's going to be almost about 3 hours of baseball, and it's expected. You go to a baseball game for the atmosphere, and you know you're going to be sitting there for quite a bit. The players know it, the fans know it. It was an interesting concept to me.
So now that we're about 2-3 weeks into the season, watching games, I'm sure as a viewer, do you appreciate the fact that games are moving a little just quicker?
Um,
Because I
Honestly,
didn't think I'd like it either, and I actually really like it so
I
far.
do too.
I do too. I'm not
Okay.
gonna lie. Yeah, I do, honestly. At first, like I said, I didn't really like it, but even seeing how much the players are enjoying these rule changes, I am starting to kind of dig it.
Starting to
Okay.
come around a little bit.
Yeah, and
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
as you're hanging around some of the players and doing some of your reporting, especially in markets that aren't Minnesota, right? I mean, we get our feedback from your players. You're going to get your feedback from yours. What are some of the biggest, I guess, advantages or even some of the gripes that you're hearing that are coming off the back from their perspectives?
Yeah, absolutely. So I cover Central Michigan baseball, and that's Division 1. So one of the first questions I asked them was pitch clock. I was asking hitter perspectives. I was asking the pitcher's perspective, and the pitchers were telling me that it was weird. Obviously, they grew up playing a game their whole life, and it changed a little bit, so it was weird. But it's a little different, like slightly in college than it is MLB because they have just the 20 seconds overall. And then with the MLB, it's like 15 seconds to throw and then 20 seconds with a runner on base, but
Yeah.
it's 20 seconds overall with college. So, um, so they were telling me like the pitchers were like, it's interesting. It was a concept, but their head coach Jordan Bishel definitely prepared them for it, and they knew it was coming. And it was funny because I was talking to them before their first home series, and then that first game there was a pitch violation. And I thought it was really funny because they were like, "Yeah, we've been prepared." They had been playing for about a month, and yeah, they were prepared, and even Jordan Bishel was arguing the call. But one of the things in college is there's not a clock anywhere, so you can't.
Oh, that's tough.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you
Does the
and
ump do a hand movement then or
yeah,
anything?
he pretty much will just yell like ball or strike, whether it's a violation against the hitter or the pitcher.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So you don't know when the 20 seconds is up. And so when the pitch violation happened, honestly, I was like, was it a balk? Was it a pitch violation? Like, I have no idea what's going on right now. And you don't even have a clock out there to recognize whether it was a pitch violation or not. And the pitchers don't know it either.
Right.
So it's just a little stopwatch, I believe, that the umps use. So when I was skimming through the MLB rule book, or I mean the NCAA one, they did say that that will be a thing in 2024. There will be a pitch clock, but they don't have them at the ballparks at the moment. So it was definitely interesting because, yeah, it's just from the pitching perspective and then the hitting perspective too, because they said mentally, usually you go into the box and you're just kind of preparing yourself and you have to speed up the process. It's a lot. Baseball's already a mental game, but this speeds it up even more.
Sure. Sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I actually had a couple questions for you, if that's okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So you said yourself you didn't play baseball. You don't see a lot of women covering baseball. So what got you into baseball and what is it like being a minority covering the sport?
Yeah, absolutely. Honestly, at the beginning, it first started when I was the manager of my high school baseball team.
Okay.
So shout out to Andy Jakubowski because I came up to him and I knew I wanted to be a sports reporter, and I grew up on the Cubs. I'm from the Chicago suburbs. So
Our producer is a huge Cubs fan.
A massive
Oh,
one. He heard you were a Cubs fan this morning and he's like, oh, I'm glad we have her.
Yes, hello.
That's awesome. I love to hear that. Yeah, so I grew up on the Cubs, and then I wanted to understand the sport beyond the basics. And that's what I think I loved about baseball, is that anyone can understand baseball. You don't have to be an expert on it. Um, and so I started doing the pitching charts. I would do the scorebook. I'd go to all their games, and he taught me everything. And then from there on out, I was like, I want to stick with this sport. I love it. And then honestly, I feel like baseball is where I've seen a lot of women kind of step into this field, whether it's like the first female broadcast or just sideline reporting. And growing up,
Yeah, for sure.
Kelly Cruel was the Cubs sports reporter, and I was like, she is so talented. I want to be her one day. So it was really cool, and it just kind of developed. And then the summer going into my senior year of college, I worked for an independent league baseball team, and I learned so much because I was traveling with this team. I was getting to know the guys beyond the sport, which is the stories I do love telling. Is why did they pick up the sport? Oh, so happens our pitcher picked up the sport because his mom taught him how to play baseball, not his dad. So
Right.
it was just kind of getting to know the team and all that. I think it's with the pace too of baseball, it's easier to like get to know the players and see how they are, how they react. You don't have like a helmet covering their head either, so you get to see their emotions. Everything about baseball, it just drew me in.
Love it. That's a great answer.
Yeah. And I saw obviously, so you're up in the Michigan area, and one of the greatest hitters of all time just had his last home opener. I saw you were kind of covering the Miguel Cabrera, his final home opener. What's the feeling around Detroit as he kind of wraps up his career and the impact that he might be having on, some of the youth in that organization? I know Spencer Torkelson was one of the names, obviously a great hitter, great tutelage. What's that been like up there?
It's been crazy. I mean, the people love Miggy out here, that's for sure. Even if you don't follow baseball or if you're not a fan, it's just like everyone knows who Miggy is at least. And it's been cool to see someone so iconic and cherished so much. And even one of our other reporters is making a joke about it, how on Twitter today about how he's making so much money this year, just pretty much stick around. But I think that's the cool thing about it, is that they want him to stay around. You need a person like that in an organization, and I felt like with the Cubs, for example, like keeping David Ross around, and like there's those iconic guys and leader figures that you need, and he definitely shows off the Detroit Tigers, but like in a positive way as well. And I think that's really what he does, is he just brings like a positive energy to this team when they don't do too hot here and there.
They do seem like they're in a little bit of a transition window between the old, like his entire tenure. They've been surrounding him with talent. As he moves out, I think they're trying to figure out how that entire franchise makes their next push. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, to be honest, my other question was, oh, sorry, we're getting a little note from here.
Yeah, here. I can cut in, but
yeah.
we're getting audio. I've never seen this. So we are recording her audio. We hear her. It's fine. It's not getting through to the Facebook stream, and I don't know, just hers. So I don't know if it's like a Facebook thing or if it's on our end. So I was just letting you guys know. We'll still put it in the final recording or whatever.
Yeah, absolutely.
I just want to let people know who are watching on Facebook. So, okay.
Well, thank you for that, Gabe.
Well, I wanted to have Gabe. I know he's back there dealing with a technical issue. Cubs fan to Cubs fan. Anything that you want to ask probably one of the only other Cubs fans we're going to have on this show as part of Twins territory up here in Minnesota?
Well, I'm always curious of just about Seiya Suzuki right now. I want to know. So, do you think he's going to like have a year this year, or if that's going to be like another Fukudome all over again?
I think he's going to have a year. I think he is coming back strong. And I'm so excited. One of my friends is in player development with the Cubs. And so we've been going back and forth. And I mean, when Seiya hit the bomb, I was like, yep, Okay, he's back. He's ready.
What
I'm excited.
what does the friend talk about then? Any talent that he talks about, and like especially any minor league talent, like Pete Crow Armstrong or whatever?
Yeah, he actually told me Owen Casey, which you probably have heard of him. He's like
No,
just
I actually haven't.
okay, Owen Casey, keep your eye out for him. He is doing so well already. I think he hit my number's off. I know it was in the 400 range, but a 400-foot bomb yesterday, or I believe it was a grand slam as well. So and it was his mom's birthday. Fun fact.
Yeah.
But like it was so cool. Like 'cause I have like the Cubs notifications on my phone, so I get literally every detail from all the farm systems. And when I saw that, I was like, that's funny because before the season started, he told me look out for this guy, and he's definitely on the rise.
Okay. Anyone else that he talks about on the major league roster? Like, I kind of struggle with Patrick Wisdom a little bit, like it's not, I don't know. There's not, I'm struggling besides Suzuki to have someone who makes me excited. Like, normally there's so many guys that I love on the team. And it's like the last 2 years have been a little bit difficult for me with that.
He actually didn't bring up anyone else. I just told him who should I look out for in the farm system. Actually, you
Yeah.
know what? That's a lie. He did tell me. Hold on. There was a starting pitcher. Let me bring it up really fast.
Ooh, the Cubs need pitching. Gabe
Well,
has
we
been-
have we
Yeah.
had a guy in a
Yeah.
reliever who was lights out in the Dominican League. Like he was the best pitcher in the Winter League or whatever, but I can't remember his name.
Hayden Wesneski.
Ooh, that's a
Okay.
name.
So
That is a
he
name.
told me,
Yeah.
yeah, that starting pitcher is who we should be looking out for, which we need starting pitchers. I think that's what the Cubs have lacked in the last few years. So
Yeah, big time.
Since the World Series run, really, and I know Gabe.
Yeah.
It's
Gabe
been
hates
gutted. It was
Yeah.
the greatest year of my life, and then it's just been gutted since. And it's like it's ruined
seriously.
everything. I'm very depressed actually about Cubs baseball. Even though I still love it. It's just that was so great. And my whole life had built up. I'm 44 years old.
Okay.
I was
Yeah.
so like I had my first child that year. Like it was just the greatest. And now it's just been depressing.
He's been relegated into being a Twins fan. That's how bad it's gotten.
Sort of. I mean, I just share now. But yeah, I am kind of getting into it. God, it's very sad.
I mean, the Twins are doing great so far this season. I mean,
we're great in April.
Yeah.
We're
So
great in April.
Wait till the injury list to get a little bit longer, and then we'll lose 14 straight games. So
yeah,
it's about how it goes around here. I got one final question for you is what do you feel like is next? What do you feel like is on the horizon for you as you continue to cover the sport? Are you going to move more into the majors? You're going to stay with D1 college? What are your aspirations?
Honestly, so I'm in the local market right now and I absolutely love it, but hopefully I can work for a team that when I worked for that independent league team, I loved it. You just get to know the players individually and you spend quality time with them. And the storytelling is really what I love about it all. And I did play by play and I loved that as well. But I think that being able to add the little blurb of, oh, hey, Owen Casey just hit a grand slam, but also it was his mom's birthday that day. So those little tidbits is what I love. So, and you get to know that stuff when you're with a team. So hopefully down the road, you'll see me with the MLB team or even, working like SEC network baseball or something like that.
Well, we hope that is the case for you. Why don't you let everybody know, that's tuning in today where they can find you? Of course, the ones on Facebook can't hear it, but we'll get it to them afterwards. So that way they know where to follow you. And then hopefully we'll be able to have you back here before too long.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. You can go to my Twitter. It's Danielle R. King _. I also have an Instagram. It's more personal, but you can see I'm posting all the time, like about Taze's last game today as a Blackhawk. So that is.
Thank God, as a Wild fan.
Yeah, no joke. Right?
No, I am sad, very, very sad. But and that's Danielle Rose King as well, pretty much across the board. Or you can go to Danielle King Sports on Facebook as well.
All right. Well, thank you very much for joining us today. We do appreciate the insight. We will have you back throughout the baseball season if you're willing to join us. I'm sure we'll have a couple of series here against the Tigers, and then I'm sure we're going to play the Cubs at some point. So maybe we'll grab you ahead of that series and do a little back and forth analysis. So
I would absolutely love that. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. Enjoy the rest of your day, Danielle. Take care.
Thank you too. Bye.
Bye.
MBC. No relation to NBC.